Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, guys. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can say God exists and attributes exist, and yet it doesn't constitute multiplicity. Okay, so the people that believe in the doctrine of divine simplicity, they will want to say that how can you say God exists? For instance, I'm coming. Sorry, guys. You'll be like, how can you say God exists? And then you say attributes exist. Those are two things. That means you have multiplicity. They can even charge you with shirk, that you have multiple gods or something like that. So here is how I think, even with the classical doctrine, I already told you guys I'm an anti-realist. So this objection does not even apply to me in the first place. But I want to show you that it's not just me, it's not just anti-realism that's going to work. Even if you're a realist, there's something that I feel like I need to show you so that you know how you can do it, even with the realist point of view. And this was the challenge I put to myself, that I wanted to understand what are they actually saying, or what are these classical theists, what are they really saying. So I wanted to understand that, and now I feel like I can explain it, how you can say God exists, an attribute exists, and yet it doesn't constitute multiplicity. The standard way they actually used to say is that la huwa wa la ghayru huwa, or something like that. That it is, the attributes are not separate from God, or they are not God and they are not other than God, or something like that. I feel like all these kind of terminologies, in my own opinion, is not going to help the people that are objecting to you. They will not find it satisfactory at all. They'll be like, what are you talking about? It's multiplicity. So you need to address why you're saying God exists and attributes exist. You see, this is the problem. And now, would you say the attributes don't exist? That's one way. Just say attributes don't exist. And then only God exists. Then you avoid the multiplicity. But I feel like there's something more, and that's the point of this video. So now let's go over some of the points I'm going to make here. So now I want you to imagine something. Imagine this phrase: one triangular street sign. So you have a street sign, it is one and it is triangular. Now, how many things exist there? Someone could come and say one exists, triangularity exists, and the object exists. So will you say that one does not exist in this object? Of course it exists. And triangularity, you say triangularity exists, it's triangular, and it is one, and it is on this object. So all of them can exist, right? Like, this is exactly the same problem that is coming up here. And with my own anti-realism, everything is just simple with their, if they want to use that. Everything is not composed of attributes and essence and existence, all these things. But anyway, let's not even get there. Now I will show you what's really going on. They are using existence in an equivocal way. Okay, so this is the solution. Being is said in many ways. Remember Aristotle, he wanted to say that to say being or is, can be said of many things because they don't mean the same thing. So when you say a substance exists, it's not the same thing as saying the quality of that substance exists. But all of them are beings. So you have all the 10 categories in Aristotle, they are all beings. Even non-being, there's a sense where you can say it is. So if non-being is, then even non-being is a being and it exists. Such that you have like non-existence exists, that kind of thing. So it leads to many absurdities like that. But the point is that you need to understand the system that you're using. And in that system, even in that system, being is said in many ways, not one way. Being is not univocal. Being is equivocal. Okay? Is equivocal. Now, it is not purely equivocal, I would say, but it is analogical, or the other one by reference or something like that. The point is that being is said in many ways. That means when I say that one exists or triangularity exists and the object exists, I don't mean the same thing. They are not the same. Exist in each case is different. It's equivocal, literally. Now, many people make a mistake of understanding equivocity as if it has to be contrary or contradictory to something. No, it just has to be that you're using the same term and they are different, completely different, in a completely different sense. But it's not completely different in this case, because the one that you're saying exists is related to the object, and the triangularity also is related to the object. So, but the exist, when you say it exists, is different, such that if you want to be very strict, what really exists is the object. Okay, so it's the object that exists. The one does not exist. If you are using the same meaning, so let's say we say the object exists. That's the one we know, right? The object exists. That exists that you're using there is not the same one you now used here. It's a different one. Do you get? You're using existence in a very basic sense. That's why you're applying it to different, what's it called? So I feel like this is the same one when it comes to the Akida issue. When we say that God exists, an attribute exists, the exist is equivocal. Equivocal in the sense that it's not the same meaning. What really exists is God, but the attributes, they are true also. But because of the realist way, they can say even non-being exists. So salbiya, if you don't know what is non-being, or it's not necessarily non-being that is salbiya, but even negative stuff exists. So some people have had arguments about, does eternity exist in God, or everlastingness? Some people think everlastingness is a property, it's an attribute, even though it's not really something you get. So anyway, the point is that in your own ontology, the realist ontology, there's no problem with you saying that attribute exists and God exists. In fact, you can say anything exists. Anything you want can exist, but you don't mean exist in the same way, in the same sense as God, or in the same sense as the substance, or in the same sense as the object. So I feel like this is how the actualists can do it, such that I don't need to say God does not have attributes, or attribute essence is equal to existence, or say something like all those kind of divine simplicity stuff. You don't need to adopt divine simplicity, because even for the object, you don't need to do it. Like, the point is that with what I'm saying here, it's not just God that this thing is true of. It's true of everything. One does not exist. One, the abstract number, it doesn't exist in the same sense as the real object, unless you are using a different kind of ontology that I don't know. But most people that want to say that God has attributes, that's why they are saying things like la huwa wa la ghayru huwa, or something similar, or he's not separate but they are not distinct from him. They are trying to get you to understand that they are not using existence in the same sense. And I think this is how you can show that even the classical actualists, they don't need to adopt divine simplicity, and they can still say those things exist. So I can say triangularity exists, and I can say one exists in something. So this triangular object, I can say yes, it exists, but it doesn't mean that it exists in the same sense. And I think that's all I wanted to say in this video. So what do you guys think in the comment section? See you guys later. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.